If you're trying to figure out where to live in Richmond, Virginia, stop scrolling, pour yourself a glass of sweet tea, and let's dig in. I'm breaking down the 10 best neighborhoods to call home in 2025, and trust me, they all bring something a little different to the table. This city isn't cookie cutter. Each area has its own personality. Short Pump, that's high-end shopping at the town center and a trunk full of snacks after your quick Target run. Bon Air, think tree-lined streets, established homes, and a piece of life that feels a little more relaxed. And Glen Allen blends the old and the new with neighborhoods that grew up around farmland but now sit close to modern conveniences. West Hampton, that's the kind of place where you can step off your porch and be at Cameo Cakery or Olympian Grove Cafe in minutes. And then there are communities like Libby Mill and Wyndham with trails, lakes, and plenty of amenities wrapped into one master plan package. Here's the thing, if you don't know these differences, it's easy to end up in a neighborhood that looks great on Zillow, but feels off once you've unpacked the boxes. I've worked with buyers who loved the house, but later realized they were zoned for a different school than expected, or that their commute down 64 was going to add serious time to the workday. Boundaries and logistics matter, so doing your homework on the front end is key. The good news, I've already done that homework. I've pulled the numbers, dug through MLS charts, checked in on Henrico's planning updates, and I'm blending all of that with the local lived-in knowledge that you can't find on Google. That means schools with links to official sites so you can double-check boundaries, communities, walkability, commutes, home prices, and yes, even the fun extras like Lego store opening soon in Short Pump and a major mixed-use project coming to Tuckahoe. So here's my promise. This isn't one of those copy and paste top 10 lists from a random blog. This is the inside scoop on Richmond in 2025. Stick with me, and by the end, you won't just know the most popular neighborhoods, you'll know which one lines up with the way you want to live. And don't click away early because I'm saving the single biggest mistake people make when comparing Richmond neighborhoods and how you can dodge it. If we haven't met yet, I'm Holly Fye, your Richmond relocation specialist. Translation, I'm the person people call when they want to move here without making a mess of it. Here's the deal. Richmond's like a playlist. You've got your historic tracks over 100 years old, 90s suburbs that still hit, and brand new remixes in mixed-use communities with trails, shopping, and even transit. And that's why this list is worth sticking around for, because you'll see the classics like Short Pump and Glen Allen, and the rising stars like Libby Mill that are changing the way people think about Richmond living. All right, let's kick things off with the heavy hitter Short Pump. This is the name everyone drops when you say you're moving to Richmond, and honestly, it lives up to the hype. Short Pump is the polished West End suburb that grew up around one thing, shopping. At the center of it all, Short Pump Town Center. It's an open-air mall that never stops reinventing itself, and now they're about to drop a brand new Lego store, which means your kids will be begging to go even more often. However, it hasn't always been the Short Pump that we know today. I can still remember riding to school, looking out the window at the cows grazing where West Broad Village stands today. Now, every time I walk through West Broad Village or show one of the townhomes there, I think about the transformation. Fast forward a couple of decades, and what was once wide open space is now one of the busiest, most in-demand suburbs in Richmond. Now let's get into the numbers, because this is where the picture gets clear. The median household income here is about $132,000, well above the Richmond average, and housing follows suit. As of this year, the 23233 zip code, which covers most of Short Pump, has a median sales price of about $519,000, up 4.8% year over year, even in a high rate market. Translation, this is one of the priciest zip codes in Richmond, and it still sells like hotcakes. Homes move fast for good reason. The schools here play a big role in demand. Short Pump includes zones like Deep Run High School, Mills Godwin High School, but here's the kicker. Boundaries don't always line up the way buyers expect. One street over could put you in a completely different school zone. That's why it's important to double check Henrico's official site before you fall in love with the house. Now, people love to say Short Pump is totally car dependent, and sure, most folks do drive, but it's not as one-dimensional as guides make it sound. GRTC's bus actually runs from downtown all the way to Short Pump Town Center, connected with the Pulse at Willow Lawn. So no, this isn't New York, but if you want to ditch the car for a day, you do have that option. Lifestyle-wise, Short Pump is convenience on steroids. I always say this is the kind of place where anything and everything you could possibly need or even think of is within a 3-mile radius. Families are running around Deep Run Park for soccer games, grabbing dinner after a Costco run, or firing up a backyard cookout. Professionals have an easy commute into Innsbrook or downtown, and investors love it because the combo of schools and amenities make this one of the most steady appreciation rates in the metro. And hey, quick pause while we're here. If you're even thinking about moving to Richmond, reach out. I help people just like you relocate here every single week, and I'd love to help you too. Call or text me anytime. My information's right below in the description. Now, is Short Pump perfect? No. If you're chasing cobblestone charm or walkable cafe culture, this isn't it. But if you want the kind of suburb where schools, space, and shopping all collide, Short Pump is the blueprint. And just a few minutes east, you've got another West End neighborhood with the same strong school perks and a slightly different flavor, Glen Allen. Let's head there next. If Short Pump is the shiny mall kid of the West End, Glen Allen is its older sibling with roots, still polished, but with a little more balance and history woven in. What makes Glen Allen stand out is the mix. You'll see established neighborhoods with brick colonials and split levels that feel lived in, and then right down the road, you'll find new construction popping up. A good example is River Mill. Henrico County just approved an expansion there, adding nearly 40 single-family homes on smaller lots. It's not a massive build-out, but it shows where the area is headed. More choices, more density, and steady growth. Schools are part of the draw here, with Glen Allen High School anchoring the area. Just like the other parts of the county, boundaries matter, and one street over can shift you into a completely different zone, so you always want to double check Henrico's official site before falling in love with the house. Commuters also appreciate that you're right on 295 and 64, which makes it easy to hop downtown, slide over to Innsbrook, or head out to Short Pump. Here's the real kicker: value. Compared to Short Pump, Glen Allen can feel a little more approachable price-wise. Homes may not always be brand new, but you still get access to Henrico schools and a wide set of amenities, often at a slightly lower price point. For buyers, that balance of options is a big reason demand here stays strong. Lifestyle-wise, Glen Allen has plenty to offer. Crump Park and Meadow Farm are local favorites for green space picnics and seasonal festivals. It's home to events throughout the year like Glen Allen Day. We love spending time at Meadow Farms, looking at the animals and watching the ducks swim on the lake. Virginia Center Commons used to be a retail hub here, but it's now being redeveloped into a mixed-use project that's basically Glen Allen's next chapter. And if you want the big box buzz, Short Pump is just minutes away, close enough for convenience, but not right on top of you. So if Short Pump is all polished edges, Glen Allen is the middle ground. More variety, a little more breathing room, and a healthy mix of old and new. And if you like the idea of West End living, but with even more leafy streets and classic Richmond character, the next stop on our list is going to be right up your alley, Let's talk about Tuckahoe. All right, sliding just a little closer into the city, we've got Tuckahoe, and this is one of those neighborhoods where the tree-lined streets and established homes really stand out the moment you drive through. Tuckahoe has that leafy established charm. Think big mature trees, older but well-kept homes, and a layout that feels more organic than a master planned suburb. You're still in Henrico County, which means access to established school zones. Location-wise, you're closer to Glen Allen or Short Pump, so commutes are shorter, and you're just minutes from downtown or the University of Richmond. Now let's talk numbers. The median household income here sits around $96,000, and the population is large. Nearly 50,000 people call Tuckahoe home. Housing prices vary depending on whether you're looking at the old ranch-style homes or renovated properties near the river, but overall, it's a strong and steadily appreciated market. One thing that sets Tuckahoe apart is that it's not just about what's already here, it's about what's coming. A new mixed-use development called Wilton Canterbury Green has been proposed right on Patterson Avenue. We're talking 2 5-story buildings with more than 130 residential units and about 8,400 square feet of office space. That may not sound massive compared to what you see in bigger cities, but for Tuckahoe, this is a big deal. It means more housing options, more walkability, and more energy in an area that's already in demand. Of course, locals are talking about traffic, school, and all of how the community will absorb it. But that's exactly what happens when a neighborhood is growing. Lifestyle-wise, Tuckahoe strikes a nice balance between suburban living, established neighborhoods, and easy access to both the West End shopping and Richmond's cultural attractions. You're close to Willow Lawn for errands, Carytown for dining, and the James River Trails if you're looking to unplug for the weekend. If Short Pump feels too retail heavy and Glen Allen too spread out, Tuckahoe gives you that middle of the ground, established, convenient, and filled with character vibe. But here's the thing, not everyone moving to Richmond wants suburban charm. Some folks want walkability, cafes, boutiques, sidewalks, places where you can step out of your front door and grab a latte without starting the car. And that brings us to our next stop, West Hampton. Now, if you love the idea of being in Richmond, but you want true walkability, let me introduce you to West Hampton. This is one of those neighborhoods that instantly gives you that small town in the city feel. West Hampton sits right in the West End, and it's anchored by the Libby and Grove corridor. Picture boutique shops, locally owned cafes, wine bars, and some of the city's best restaurants, all within a few blocks. It's the kind of place where you park your car once, spend the afternoon strolling and bumping into friends along the way. This neighborhood has become a hot spot because it combines charm with convenience. On one hand, you've got historic homes and tree-lined streets that give it that classic Richmond character. On the other, you've got the incredible lifestyle built in, whether it's grabbing a sweet treat at Cameo Cakery, browsing shops at Libby and Grove, or enjoying dinner at Taste or Stella's. With Willow Lawn and Carytown just a short drive away, you're never far from more retail and entertainment. Schools here are mostly zoned for the City of Richmond schools, but there are some who go to Henrico County schools. Honestly, West Hampton draws people who love the energy of a walkable neighborhood without being right in the middle of downtown. The housing here is competitive. We're talking older homes with character, often renovated, sometimes pricey because of the walkability premium. And yes, you'll pay a little more per square foot than in places like Glen Allen or Midlothian, but you're buying into lifestyle as much as square footage. West Hampton is also one of the places where you can really feel Richmond's culture. From the boutique shops to the cozy streets, it's got personality in spades. It's not just where you live, it's how you live. Now, West Hampton is amazing if you want that walkable vibe. But what if you like the idea of modern mixed-use living with amenities built right into your neighborhood, a lake, a library, restaurants, and even direct transit links? Well, that's exactly what you'll find just a couple miles over in Libby Mill. Now, let's shift to something brand new in Richmond's West End, Libby Mill Midtown. If Short Pump is retail and West Hampton is charm, Libby Mill is the modern town center. Designed from scratch for lifestyle, here's a Saturday morning snapshot. Loop the lake, stop by the flagship library for story time, grab brunch at Shack Marks, and you're still 5 minutes from hopping an Amtrak train at Staplesville. That's the rhythm of life here, and this is where Libby Mill really stands out. In a city that's mostly car forward, this neighborhood is one of the few that actually gives you options. You've got zero fare pulse service at Gull Lawn, plus Route 18 linking straight to Staplesville Amtrak, which is one of the busiest train stations in Virginia. Car light living in Richmond is rare, and Libby Mill makes it possible. The housing here is a mix of modern townhomes, condos, and apartments, all low maintenance, HOA kept, and built for easy living. Think new finishes, walkable layouts, and community amenities tied together by trails and sidewalks. For buyers who want convenience first without giving up connection, this neighborhood delivers. And listen, this is exactly where a lot of relocation clients get tripped up. Boundaries here can shift quickly, and they don't always line up the way buyers expect. That's why it's important to double check school zones and neighborhood lines with the county before you make a decision. That's why I put together what I call the boundary reality check. Shoot me a text or email, and I'll send you a link to resources to help you with navigating those divided lines, the stuff that makes or breaks a smart buy. Bottom line, Libby Mill is for people who want a new connected lifestyle in the West End without living downtown. Prefer porches, huge trees, and character homes over new townhomes? Then you'll love what Bon Air has to offer. Now let's talk about Bon Air. This is where Richmond's history meets suburban value. Bon Air is one of those places that feels different the second you drive through. Towering trees, rolling hills, and a mix of older brick homes and newer builds give it a character that stands apart from the polished West End suburbs. Originally developed in the 1800s as a summer retreat, Bon Air still carries that laid-back vibe today, but with the convenience of being right on the Chesterfield-Henrico line, just minutes from downtown. Here's the kicker. Bon Air delivers a lot of value for the dollar. The median household income here is around $98,000, and homes currently average about $408,000. That's well below Short Pump or Glen Allen, which makes this one of the more approachable options for buyers who want more space without West End price tags. Lifestyle-wise, Bon Air leads into outdoors. You'll find mature neighborhoods with large yards, plus easy access to parks and green space. Huguenot Park is close by for trails and sports, and the James River Park system isn't far if you're into kayaking, biking, or just a Saturday outside. Commutes into downtown are quick, usually 15 to 20 minutes, and you've got easy connections to Midlothian, Chesterfield, and other areas for shopping. Bon Air also has a strong sense of community, which you'll notice in neighborhood events, active HOAs, and historic preservation efforts that keep its character intact. I've been to neighborhood yard sales here and community church events where you can literally walk block to block and feel like you know everyone by the end of the morning. And because it borders both Chesterfield and Richmond City, you're near several school clusters, though boundaries don't always line up the way you'd expect. So it's important to confirm with the county or the city before you buy. The bottom line, Bon Air is for buyers who want character, affordability, and location, all wrapped up in one of Richmond's most tree-filled established suburbs. Now, maybe you like the idea of space, but want a neighborhood with more inventory, new construction, and a bigger suburban footprint? That's exactly what you'll find in Midlothian. Next up, we've got Midlothian, one of the fastest growing areas in the Richmond region, and honestly, one of the most versatile too. Here's why. Midlothian is huge compared to most of the neighborhoods we've talked about. It's got historic roots as a coal mining town dating back to the 1700s. But today, it's full of new construction, master plan communities, and established subdivisions. So whether you're after a starter home, a new build with modern finishes, or even a luxury property on acreage, Midlothian has options. The numbers back it up. The median home price is around $400,000 right now, making it one of the stronger values in the metro area. And unlike smaller markets where prices can swing from month to month, Midlothian's size gives it stability. There's enough inventory here that you don't have to jump on the very first listing you see. The area is served by Chesterfield Chesterfield County schools, including Cosby High, which has been recognized by Virginia Department of Education. Just keep in mind that boundaries can shift and they don't always line up the way buyers expect, so it's important to confirm zoning with the county before making a decision. Pair that with the area's parks, sports fields, and community amenities, and you can see why Midlothian continues to grow. Lifestyle-wise, Midlothian has a little of everything. Midlothian Village keeps some of that small-town character with shops and local restaurants. There are bigger retail corridors with everything from Target to Costco, and for outdoor lovers, the Swift Creek Reservoir and Rockwood Park are right here for kayaking, fishing, hiking, or just relaxing on the weekend. Commuting from Midlothian is manageable too, with direct access to Route 288 and the Powhite Parkway. It's straightforward to get to downtown or swing around the Beltway towards Short Pump or Chester. Bottom line, Midlothian is one of the region's most well-rounded suburbs. You get value, you get variety, and you get the kind of mix that keeps this part of Chesterfield in high demand. But what if you're looking for something smaller, quainter, more of a true small-town vibe with its own main street and identity? That's where we head next, Ashland, the center of the universe. All right, now let's head north to Ashland, affectionately known as the center of the universe. And once you spend a little time here, you'll see why. Ashland has this classic small-town vibe that you just don't find in the bigger Richmond suburbs. Picture a walkable main street lined with shops, cafes, local restaurants, plus historic homes that give it a timeless feel. The town grew up around the railroad, and to this day, Amtrak trains roll right through the heart of downtown. It's part of the identity here, a rail town at heart with a unique, close-knit character. And here's a tip straight from a native Richmonder. One of my favorite things to do is to take my little boy to Homemade by Suzanne's for lunch. We grab a table outside under the bright umbrellas, eat our sandwiches and sweet treats for dessert, and watch the trains roll by just a few feet away. It's one of those moments that sums up Ashland. Simple, charming, and memorable. And if you're more into sports and pub food, you can always catch a game at Sports Page. And in my opinion, dive into the best hot wings in all of Richmond. That's the kind of everyday lifestyle Ashland delivers, approachable, easy, and full of flavor. Housing here runs the gamut. The median sales price is around $490,000, but because the market is smaller, prices can swing a lot from month to month. One luxury home closing can shift the averages pretty quickly. What you'll find is a mix of historic homes with porches and character, new construction along the edges, condos and townhomes near downtown, and even entire developments just a few blocks from Main Street. Community is really at the heart of Ashland. There's the Strawberry Fair in June, Train Day in April, Halloween and Christmas festivities that light up the streets, and a summer concert series that brings people together season after season. Randolph-Macon College adds even more energy with its sports, arts, and cultural programming. And when you need to get into Richmond, it's just 20 minutes away. Or you could hop on an Amtrak and head up or down the East Coast. Ashland appeals to buyers who want that true small town setting with easy city access. It's not going to be everyone's fit. If you need a big box store 5 minutes away, this may not be the spot for you. But if you want charm, community, and a front row seat to small town living, Ashland delivers. Now, Ashland gives you that quaint, community-driven lifestyle. But what if you're after something completely different? Larger lots, country club living, and a touch of luxury in a more rural setting? That's where Mannequin Sabbath comes in. Now, if Ashland is all about small town charm, Mannequin Sabbath flips the script. This is where you find estate-style living, privacy, and a taste of the countryside just minutes from the city. Mannequin Sabbath sits out in Goochland County, only about 20 to 30 minutes west of Richmond's West End and Short Pump. But once you're here, it feels like a world away. We're talking large lots, tree-lined streets, golf communities, and even equestrian properties. It's the kind of place where you can stretch out, whether that means a few acres, a custom-built home behind gates, or simply space without neighbors right on top of you. Lifestyle here leans towards quiet luxury. You'll find country clubs and golf courses like Hermitage Country Club, and horse farms and riding facilities woven into the landscape. The pace feels slower, more private, and retreat-like. unique. But with Short Pump's retail, dining, and amenities just a short drive away, you're not giving up convenience. Price-wise, Mannequin Sabbath tends to be on the higher end of the market, but what you're buying into is more than a house. It's space, privacy, and lifestyle that blends country calm and city access. Think of it as the best of both worlds. Richmond's energy when you want it, and a peaceful retreat when you don't. This area also carries that classic Virginia character, a mix of history, established properties, and room for everything from pools to gardens to horses. Bottom line, if your priority is privacy, space, and a touch of prestige, Mannequin Sabbath offers in a way no other Richmond area community really does. Now, we've got one more stop on the list, and it brings us right back into the master plan community that ties everything together with trails, lakes, and a carefully built lifestyle, Wyndham. Last but definitely not least, we're wrapping things up with Wyndham, one of Richmond's area's most recognizable master plan communities and one of the most consistent performers when it comes to both lifestyle and resale value. Located in Glen Allen, Wyndham is the definition of a community that was thoughtfully designed. You've got miles of sidewalks and trails, neighborhood lakes, playgrounds, and amenities all woven together under the Wyndham Foundation HOA. Curb appeal isn't an afterthought here. It's part of the design. The housing mix is primarily single-family homes, and demand has stayed strong. Wyndham often shows up on lists like niche best places to live in Richmond, where it regularly ranks among the top suburbs. It's also served by Henrico County schools, including Deep Run High School. As always, make sure to confirm the zoning with the county before making a decision, since boundaries can shift. Lifestyle-wise, Wyndham has plenty to offer. You can golf at the Dominion Club, fish at one of the lakes, walk the neighborhood trails that connect directly into Short Pump, or take part in community events that make it easy to plug in. It's polished, stable, and designed for convenience. And while it feels private and tucked away, you're still only minutes from Short Pump Town Center, 295 and 64, which makes commuting or grabbing dinner a breeze. So if you're after a master planned community with built-in amenities, access to Henrico schools, and reliable long-term value, Wyndham absolutely deserves its spot on your list. Before we wrap up, let me give you a bonus tip that most people overlook when they're comparing neighborhoods around Richmond. The biggest mistake I see relocation clients make is comparing neighborhoods on paper without actually checking two key things: school attendance zones and real-world commute patterns. Here's why that matters. Just because a house is listed as being in Short Pump or Glen Allen doesn't automatically mean it falls into those school zones that you expect. Boundaries can zigzag in surprising ways, and they can shift over time. That's why it's so important to confirm school assignments directly with the county before making a decision. The second pitfall is assuming your commute will look like what Google Maps shows you at 11 a.m. Richmond traffic isn't Atlanta or DC, but the difference between a 20-minute drive at off-peak and 40-minute drive at rush hour can be a deal breaker. Always test drive your commute at the time you'd actually be on the road. The good news is you don't have to figure this out alone. I can help you map out school boundaries, walk you through attendance zones, and even plan out your commute so you know exactly what you're signing up for. That way you're comparing apples to apples when you're choosing between neighborhoods. So there you have it, the top 10 neighborhoods to live in around Richmond, Virginia. From Short Pump's energy to Mannequin Sabbath's estate-style privacy, from Ashland's small-town charm to Wyndham's master planning. Each area offers something unique depending on your lifestyle, your commute, and your budget. And here's the key takeaway. Knowing the list is one thing, but figuring out which neighborhood actually fits you is the real game changer. And that's where I come in. Every relocation client I've worked with started with a short list, and then we fine-tuned it based on schools, commute, lifestyle, and budget until the right neighborhood rose to the top. Just a couple of months ago, I worked with a buyer who thought Midlothian was their dream spot. But after we dug into the commute, schools, and lifestyle elements, they realized Short Pump was a better fit. That's the power of really knowing the neighborhoods. And if you're serious about moving to Richmond, don't go it alone. Reach out, call, text, or email me anytime, and I'll walk you through the process, show you the neighborhoods firsthand, and help you plant your roots. in the spot that feels like home. And hey, if you're still in research mode, make sure to hit subscribe because I've got more videos coming that dives deeper into Richmond suburbs, new developments, and even some hidden gems most people miss. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'm Holly Fye, and I'll see you in the next Richmond Deep Dive.